Hi boys and girls, my name is Sara and today we're going to be doing 2 different water experiments. I'm really excited to share these with you guys, so I hope you enjoy. So for today's experiments, you're going to be needing a list of materials that are really simple to find around your house. So I'd like for you now to pause the video and go collect all those items and just put them out on a table in front of you. You might also need a roll of paper towels in case any water spills. It also might be a good idea to have your parents help you with this in case something is to happen. So let's get started. Alright. So before we start experiment 1, I would like you guys to pause the video and think about how many pennies or coins, whatever ones you have, are going to take to make the water change in levels and spill out of the container. Alright, how about you guys write your guess on a sheet of paper or tell someone next to you if there's anybody around and just tell them how many you think is going to take. And then okay, so now that we have all of our materials laid out in front of us, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is leave only the experiment materials we need for number 1. So take the pencil, the rubber band, paper clip, binder clip, these other sundry items that you have used for the second, that you found for the second experiment, and put those off to the side. So what we're going to do is, I have my plastic cup right here, and what we're going to do first is take the water, and once you take the water, you can pour it in all the way up to the rim. So here I'm going to need a little bit more water, and what I'm going to do is, I have a bowl right here. You can put some paper towels out or a plate or something, just in case any water overflows. I also have some more water on the side, just for a little extra. Okay, that's right up to the rim, maybe a splash more. And we want to make sure the bowl's as dry as it can be, just so we can see how much water really comes out, because that'll be pretty cool when we dunk all these in. Okay, so you can begin. We have a bunch of coins over here sitting on the side, and I thought it'd be cool to go over some of the coin values that we have in this country. So we have 4 that are used on a daily basis. So we have this big silver looking coin. This one's called a quarter, and it's worth 25 cents. We have a similar color looking coin. That one's kind of dirty here. This one is more pretty. And that one is 5 cents. It's called a nickel. And then we have this one, which is also a similar color, just a different size. And that one's called a dime and worth 10 cents. And this one right here is copper colored and is called a penny, which is worth 1 cent. Okay, so they're all a bunch of different sizes. So if you have one of the same and you have a bunch of them, probably like 50 or 100 or something like that, it might make this experiment a little bit easier. Since we only have what I'm working with right now, I'm just going to use all different sizes, but I'm going to start with the biggest ones, the quarters, just to see how many quarters it takes to spill the water over. So while you guys, I'm just collecting the quarters right now, but when you guys start putting all the coins in, what you're going to do is count how many you put in and see how many it takes, and then you can see if your guess was right. So we're going to begin. I have all the quarters sitting in my hand. I'm just going to start by placing them in. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It started slipping over already. Oh my goodness. 5 didn't do anything. Maybe it was a splash. 6, 7, 8. Oh, that probably was a splash too. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So I think it started spilling over at 4, which might have like hit the side or something. But as you can see, a lot of the water is like spilling out, which is so crazy. So if you guys have other types of coins, and you can do pennies, you can do quarters, nickels, dimes, whatever you have, or maybe even a dollar coin, and just see how many it takes to spill over, because this is called water displacement. So the coins are taking the place of the water, and because the water is a liquid and it takes the shape of where it goes next. It doesn't have a definite shape. So if I squish this, it's going to come out. And if I pour it, it's going to come out. But if I cap it, it's going to stay in there because it's already sitting in this cup. If you are able, I'm not sure if the comments are on or not, but if you're able, comment below what you guys get and if you got it correct, because I want to hear what you guys are doing with your experiments at home. All right, so once you guys clean all of this up, we can just move all this out of the way. We're going to start with our second experiment. You're still going to need a bowl and find anything like the material list said that could, like many objects around your house that we can test to see which ones sink and float. Alright, so now that we've completed experiment number 1, I hope you guys had a lot of fun with it. We're going to move on to experiment number 2. So I have, again, the list of materials for experiment number 2 listed right here, and we're going to get started. Alright, so now that we're all cleaned up from experiment number 1, we're going to move on to experiment number 2. And I have all my supplies out right here. I filled this bowl with water, just from the sink. And I have some sticky notes, pencil, rubber band, paper clip, and a binder clip. And whatever materials, you guys were able to find, that's going to be perfect because we're just going to test and see which ones are going to sink or float. So how many ever you guys have, I would like you to guess which ones are going to sink and which are going to float. So I'm going to take, my first guess will be a sticky note. We're just going to take one of them, crumple it up. If you guys have a sheet of paper or like a bigger mixing bowl, that'd be good too, because I don't think my pencil's going to end up fitting. So we're going to probably take this marker. Yeah, that'll fit better. So if you have a pencil or marker, that should be fine. So first I'm going to test this sheet of paper. Do you guys think this will sink or float? I want to see your guesses. So I'm going to drop it in. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this one floats, and I feel like you guys might know why. Do you guys ever have a bathtub party where you put all your toys in the tub, they float around, and they don't sink unless you push them down like this? Yeah? Okay, cool. So this paper is similar because it's very lightweight, similar to your toys. Say if you have a bath duck, for example, that would probably float just because it's not filled with anything on the inside. Say if you had a bottle of hand sanitizer, this is obviously going to sink. I don't have deep enough water to do that, but it's not hollow, it's filled with stuff. So the paper only decided to sink at the end because it absorbed all this water, and now it's too heavy to float on top. Whereas if you have that wet sheet instead of a dry one, which is now a little bit wet, it's going to wait and absorb the water and then sink afterwards because it takes a little while for the water to just sink in. So this is kind of what this is doing, similar to a sponge in the kitchen your parents might have. Alright, so next we're going to try this rubber band, and I have right here just a normal size rubber band, and you guys are going to, I would like you to guess first if your rubber band is going to sink or float, and we're going to drop it in. We can do it together. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so maybe we can see that it's sort of floating, but it's really sinking. Do you guys see that? Since my pencil's not going to fit in the bowl I have, I'm going to use this marker, which is probably a different weight and density. I'll put the definition of density right here. It just means how much weight is going through the entire thing. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to drop this in about a couple seconds, but I want you guys, again, put your guesses, write them down or tell a friend next to you and try and guess, okay? And then we're going to see which of our guesses were right because we're becoming scientists today. So we're just going to drop it in. Ready? 1, 2, 3. What happened? It floats. How come this floated? What do you guys think? Talk to it with someone around you. Why do you guys think that this floats when it feels so much heavier than paper or a rubber band? Why do you guys think that floats? You can pause the video and talk to someone next to you too. Next, we have a binder clip and a paper clip. I want you guys to compare them in your hands if you have these supplies or something similar around you. Again, you don't have to use these are just the things that I have around me, and that's what I'm using for this example and experiment. So which one's heavier? Which one do you guys think is going to sink? Which one do you think is going to float? Can you guys tell? This one feels a bit heavier. This one is a little bit lighter. Let's test it. We can drop them in at the same time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh my goodness, what the heck? They both sunk. Why do you guys think that is? They don't. Which one do you think feels heavier if you compare them in your hands? I feel like this feels a lot heavier, so maybe this makes sense that it sinks. Does that make sense to you guys, why this one sinks so much faster than a marker could? Or a paper clip? This also sunk from the observation we made that these both sink. So why do you guys think that the paper clip sunk when it's so much lighter than the binder clip? Do you think that they're both about a similar density or mass to begin with? Mass is the same thing as weight, how much heavy it feels. I think that you guys are doing a great job, and this was so much fun. So we can begin to clean up this experiment. You guys can also try some other things, such as toys you have around the house. Just make sure you ask your parents which objects you're putting into this bucket of water here. Make sure you ask them first, and go through the supplies you have in your house together before you put anything in this bowl, because we don't want to ruin anything. Alright guys, this was so much fun. I hope you enjoyed, and come back in a week or two. Thanks for joining me today.